Gosh, there is a lot of confusion about marketing your business as a projector. In this video, I'm going to talk about 3 do's and 3 don'ts for how to effectively market as a projector. And we're going to debunk some of the common misunderstandings. But first, if you saw the video, I'll make sure I pop it up here, where I talked about projectors inviting other projectors. I dispelled some of the misunderstandings about who it is actually that is supposed to do the inviting. And it's a very common, this is the place I want to start. It's a very common misunderstanding that says, if you're a projector in business, you can invite your clients, invite your customers, even use the word invite in your copy. Short answer, it's rubbish. The person who needs to do the inviting, and if you want to understand this better, do check out that video. The person who needs to do the inviting is the one who has the resource, usually money, who wants to pay for the guidance of the other projector, right? Which means that you, as the projector owner, business owner, needs to wait for invitations. Not go inviting people to pay you money, wait for the invitation, right? So waiting for the invitation is like the linchpin of this process in every relationship, including in business. So let's start with a definition of marketing. I've written down here, communicating to your audience what you offer, how it can help them, and with the goal of getting people to buy your product or service, right? So that's the way I'm going to describe marketing. Telling people, here's my thing, here's how it'll help you, here's how you buy it. Let's look at 3 do's and don'ts. I want to keep this really practical and succinct. And we're going to start with the don'ts because I think there's so much information about how to market your business, how to grow a business, how to sell, blah, 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 blah. And so much of it is incorrect for projectors. So don't direct message, cold call, cold text, send out cold emails, do a blast. Any of this outward projection of energy is initiating. And if you know even a little bit about human design and some of the other types, you'll know that that is what manifestors are supposed to do. That outward projection of energy is for the manifestors. That is correct for them. Lots of other things are not correct for them, but that outward energy is. So it's not correct for you as a projector. It is a waste of your time and your energy and your money. So please don't do this. Number 2, avoid responding to questions that people might ask in a group forum, in a Facebook group, in any other kind of online group, and in any offline space. So you might have a group of people in any sort of community or business type situation, right? And actually I did a whole video on that, so I'll make sure I pop it up there that sort of delves into this a bit more. But if you respond, because it's responding, if you respond to a question that was asked in a group space without having a direct invitation, it is very likely that your answer is going to be ignored, talked over, dismissed, your answer or your insight stolen without actually giving any credit to you. And it tends to leave us feeling quite bitter, which, as you might know, is the not self theme for the projector. So anytime you do something that leaves you feeling bitter or resentful, you can use that as a bit of a cue to go, whoops, shouldn't have done that. Let's do it differently next time. Okay. So you will see lots of marketing experts who say, oh yeah, there's a great opportunity to respond here and respond there. And like responding to questions, it's such a great thing. If that worked really well for them, I can almost hands down guarantee that if they did it for any length of time and they enjoyed it and it worked well, they're a generator or a manifesting generator, which you, my projector, are not. So number 3, don't try and upsell somebody who's already bought something from you into something else that they don't have the capacity for right now, that they don't have an expressed need for or haven't expressed any kind of want for, because what this actually is doing is initiating. Right, I'll give you an example. Sometimes I will have clients who do, like I allow people to book in for individual one-on-one sessions, right? So they don't have to book whole packages at this point. They're allowed to book in for individual sessions. And what I will do is I will do what is most helpful for them in that session. And sometimes we get to the end of the session, it's really obvious that they both could benefit from more and that they want more from me. And if I get that sense, whether it's, subtle or direct, then in that situation, then I will inform them as to what I would suggest as a next step, right? And more often, I have done so much work with them in that session that I send them away with a whole bunch of things to play with and homework to do and exercises and processes that I can see they're full. And I go, just go and chew on that for a month or two. And I do not offer or suggest further things because, or if I do, I go, that might be good for a month or two down the track, right? Because they're full at that point in time. And I don't want to actually stuff anything else in. So just know that, again, we're so often told by marketing experts to upsell and to like make sure that people know what the next step is. And so often I find that unless somebody is like really directly asking for it, they're probably not ready, they probably don't want it, and it's counterproductive to actually suggest it. If you're finding this video helpful, can you give it a like? That will really help to grow the channel, and we'll keep moving through these do's and don'ts. So we're up to our 3 do's. Do, as a projector, make sure you are being visible. If you are hiding with all your fabulous genius and wisdom in a little office with a beautiful backdrop, talking into a mic, and you never put this video on YouTube, or you never finish that blog post article and put it on your website, or you don't finish that beautiful Instagram reel and or Instagram carousel and actually put it on Instagram, if people can't find you, they can't buy from you. So it's really important that you're being visible. Now I've written 3 points on this, so sub points for being visible. The first is to be as authentic as you can manage. Now, if you've been watching along on this channel for any length of time, you've seen that I've done different things with these videos. Sometimes I've tried video scripts. Sometimes I've just talked straight to camera. Sometimes I have notes. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I'm wearing makeup. Sometimes I'm not, right? How comfortable I feel on any given day shifts and changes a little bit. And the way I want to do it, I love the camera, but I also sometimes feel vulnerable in front of the camera. So you will see that the level of authenticity I bring wavers a little bit. That's okay. It's okay for you too. Do the best you can as you heal your shit, right? So number 2 in the sub point for being visible is to hang out in spaces online and or offline. So like, you know, on the web or out in the real world with real people in real life, like we used to do before the internet took over, in spaces that you genuinely like. Now, I like YouTube. I hang out here all the time. I consume content on here and I create content on here regularly. So for me, this is a space that's correct for me to be found. Visibility is about being found by people. If you hate video and the thought of you turning on a camera like this and speaking to the camera scares the shit out of you, or you absolutely cringe at the thought and you never want to do it ever, and if you think that's running a business, then you're like, I'm out, then don't do it. If you love writing 1,000-word blog posts or articles, do that and post them on any number of the great places that you could do that. Medium, LinkedIn, Substack, write MailChimp newsletters. There's so many different ways that you can do it. If you love creating beautiful pictures, you could put them on Instagram, you could put them on Pinterest. I'm sure there's others, I'm not so visual. Like work out how you authentically like to express yourself and how you can be visible on the platforms. The hint is to look at which platforms are you on like every day anyway, or which offline spaces do you like to go to every day or a few times every week, because that tells you, hey, that's an environment and a space that you like to play in. And the third sub point here is to do visibility your way. And I sort of spoke to that a little bit. So if you like the medium of creating little memes, I've seen this done really well by some people. Some people like creating hilarious cartoon memes to teach human design things or to teach whatever their thing is. If you love doing that, then do that, because there's somebody who needs to learn through that medium, right? So number 2, let's take a breath here. I'm going to feel my feet on the ground for a moment. If you've been getting excited, you can do the same too. And number 2 is to inform people about your offer, how it might help, and what it costs. For example, I currently offer, and it's subject to change over time, but right now, as I record this, I offer very affordable self-paced courses on human design. I'll make sure I link that in the video description down here. And I offer one-on-one coaching in piecemeal sizes. So you can book individual sessions so that you can just work on an individual thing or come back and buy multiple. And how it helps is that I am so focused on making it simple, accessible, easy to understand, explaining the jargon when we have to use the jargon, because I want it to be practical and applicable to your real life. I want you to be able to understand this stuff well enough that you can then go and take it out into the real world. So I use metaphors, I use examples, and I do that in the courses and I do that in my one-on-one coaching, right? And when it comes to prices, this is a bugbear of mine. When people hide prices, I am very clear that I want people to know, because everyone makes different amounts of money. Everyone has different budgets for this work, that when you click on any of the links, so I'll put coaching down here as well. If you click through, you'll immediately see what the price is. And if the price is in a different currency than what you have at home, you just need to use a website to convert it. And then you'll be able to see, oh, that is in my budget, or it's not in my budget, or I need to save up for it, or whatever the case may be, right? So being really clear, what do you offer as a product or service? How does it help people? And what does it cost? We don't need to be tricky or clever or hide things from people or try and use the right words to smush them and get them in the door. Screw that. If you are doing really high quality work, which I really hope that you are, then I want you to do your work, to tell people how you can help them, work out a price that you feel comfortable charging, and then tell people. It's that simple. The last thing I want to do here is I want to reinforce, and actually I've got one more page, so let's make sure, yes, we've got a 3. We've got a number 3 for doing. But I want to reinforce this difference in idea between informing people what you do versus what I was talking about at the beginning of this video of inviting. Oh, I invite you to come and get coaching with me. That's bollocks, right? It is not my job to invite you. That's not how this works. If you consume my content and you're like, yeah, I really like this Carolyn chick, then it's up to you to decide whether or not you're going to invite me to guide you. And the way you do that is by buying my courses or booking in for coaching, and you sending me money and making that commitment is how I know you value and recognize my guidance, and you're inviting me to guide you. That's how this flow works when we're in business, okay? So as the business owner, put yourself in my shoes in that example that I just gave. Your clients or customers or your humans who might buy something from you, they need to handpick you. And I know in the beginning, if you're very new to human design, that can feel a little bit limiting, like you're sometimes people feel a little bit like they're the victim, like they have no control. I could do a whole series on like actually how wonderful and powerful this process is. But what I want you to know is the invitation is such a godsend. It saves you so much hassle from working with the wrong people and burning energy trying to either initiate or respond and creating messes. It creates messes. Ask me how I know. 10 years of like messing with all the different ways that we can do marketing and business. And I can tell you through lived experience that initiating and responding in any version of that as a projector just creates a mess. So please learn through my experience that that is not a good use of your time, money, energy, or any of the things. Sanity, it's not a good use of your sanity. So let's wrap up with number 3. And I'll pause again and feel my feet on the ground because I get a bit excited about all this work. Number 3, and this is like a linchpin thing, and it doesn't feel like necessarily a direct human design thing, but it's like the sibling to human design that has to be spoken about. And that is to do work on improving your sense of self-worth and knowing how to value your knowledge and wisdom. If you don't recognize and value you, no one else is going to. If you don't recognize and value you, nobody else is going to. This is the key that unlocks everything else. And this is why I talk about deconditioning so much in these videos on this channel, right? and that's why I paired human design with tapping, because you could do all the right things. You could have the best marketing plan in the world. You could have really beautiful, perfect text, shiny pictures, the best studio setup. And if you don't value and recognize yourself, you're not going to be found. People aren't going to buy your stuff. You're not going to have the impact or the result that you would like for yourself and for other people. I'll make sure that I link something up here about deconditioning. And if you found this video helpful, maybe you can think of another projector that this would really benefit.